Hi, welcome to Josh Code China. The purpose of this video is to give you a guideline to hybrid mobile app developments. Please support us by subscribing to our channel and click on the likes button. Today's agenda will cover the following topics. First, the types of mobile app. We will discuss the types of mobile apps and its pros and cons. Next, we will discuss what is hybrid app, its advantages and architecture. Followed by, we will discuss what is React Native. Last but not least, we will show you how to set up React Native development environment in a Mac machine. The reason for using a Mac machine is that you can run both iOS and Android app in the same machine. In this series of videos, we assume that you have some basic programming knowledge, preferable JavaScript. However, if you don't have any basic programming knowledge, then this video will give you some idea on hybrid app development. Currently, we have three main types of mobile app. First is the native app. The word native means that the app is specifically designed and built for the OS. The main advantages of native app is performance. It's normally required to use a specific programming language and tools for the respective platform. For example, we'll use Java and Android Studio to develop Android app, and using Swift and Xcode to develop iOS app. Next is the mobile web app. It is a web app that renders its UI suitable for mobile device through the web browser. The main advantages of mobile web app is the low development cost and cross-platform. You can use any available web app programming language to develop a mobile web app. For example, ASP.NET, AngularJS, PHP, etc. The last type is the hybrid app. The word hybrid means this type of app is in between the native and mobile web app. The hybrid app behaves like a native app. It has its app icon, run faster than the web app, and have offline capability. There are several frameworks that you can use to develop a hybrid app like React Native, Ionic, Flutter, etc. Now, let us take a look at the pros and cons of these mobile apps. First is the performance of the app. Needless to say, the native app will have the best performance compared to the other two types of mobile app. The worst performance is the web app. The hybrid app is in between the native and mobile web app. Next, we will look at the features. The feature here means the ability to use the mobile device capability. For example, the proximity sensor, compass, camera, storage, etc. Since the native app is designed for the specific OS, therefore, it can use almost all capability available in the phone except those manufacturer or system administrator features. The mobile web app has the most limitation when it tries to access the phone capability. Once again, the hybrid app is in between the native and the mobile web app. As for the app file size, the native app is the smallest, then followed by the hybrid app. Since mobile web app is loaded on demand by the browser, therefore there is nothing to install. For code reusability, since native app is platform dependent, it is hard to reuse most of the code. For mobile web app, we only code once, and it can run on both Android and iOS. Therefore, it is the best in terms of code reusability. For hybrid app, it is also developed once and run on both OS. However, there might be a small portion of the code that depend on its platform. For example, certain third-party library might only work on Android and not iOS. In terms of low cost, the native app is the most costly to develop, as you need to develop for both OS. Both the mobile web app and hybrid app is the most cost-effective, as it only needs to develop once. For app maintenance, Since the native app need to develop once for each OS, therefore, the maintenance effort is twice as much as compared to the mobile web and hybrid app. Both native and hybrid app has offline capability, except for mobile web app. Since mobile web app need to load from the server every time by the browser when you try to use it. To set up the development environment for native app, we just need to install a single piece of software and it will work. For example, we just need to install Xcode to develop iOS and Android Studio to develop Android app. However, for hybrid app, there is more component to install in order to set up the development environment. For cross-platform capability, since the native app is designed and built for a specific platform, therefore, there is no cross-platform capability as compared to mobile web and hybrid app. What is hybrid app? Hybrid app, like native app, run on a device and are written with web technology like HTML5, CSS, JavaScript. Hybrid app run inside a native container and leverage on the device browser engine to render the HTML and process the JavaScript locally. A web to native abstraction layer enables access to device capability that are not accessible in mobile web applications, such as the accelerometer, camera, and local storage. However, with the advance in technology, the above statement might not be 100% accurate. Let's take a look at the definition on React Native hybrid app. React Native primitively render to native platform UI, meaning your app use the same native platform API that other apps do. From the React Native definition, we can see that React Native render the UI using the native platform UI instead of using the web UI. And that's the reason why we introduce React Native to you. Main advantage of hybrid app. The first advantage is the reduction of time and cost for the development. Since the development only occurs once, therefore, it cuts down the time and cost by half. The second advantage is easy maintenance, since we only have one code base to maintain. The third advantage is, since the time of development is reduced, therefore, the app can reach the market in the shorter times. Hybrid app architecture. The first two layers belong to device. The first is the hardware layer. This layer consists of physical hardware like storage, sensor, media, network, GPS, etc. The hardware layer requires the OS layer for it to work. Without the OS layer, the hardware is just a piece of junk. The next layer is the JS bridge. This layer consists of native code for each platform that bridge over JavaScript and OS layer. It allows the JavaScript to access the OS capability. Then we have the JS app logic layer. This layer is the main logic for your app that you are building. It consists of data functionality, create, retrieve, update, delete, user input validation, access remote server API, etc. It also controls the page flow of your UI layer. The UI layer is the user interface for the application. It can be a web or native interface depending on the type of hybrid app framework you are using. Now, let us take a look at what is React Native. By definition, React Native is a framework that builds a hierarchy of UI components to build the JavaScript code. It has a set of components for both iOS and Android platform to build a mobile application with a native look and feel. Let us take a look at the React Native architecture. In your React Native application, it contains the React Native engine. This engine is platform dependent. Therefore, it can run your JavaScript in both Android and iOS. Next, we have the React Native module. It is the JS bridge we had discussed in the hybrid app architecture. It allows the JavaScript in the engine to access the platform API to use the device capabilities. The platform API consists of the hardware and the operating system. Within the React Native engine is the JavaScript interpreter. It interprets your JavaScript module and executes it. Your application will consist of many other JavaScript modules to perform certain tasks. For example, the camera module, push notification module, GPS module, etc. Even your app is also a JavaScript module. The last part is your application JavaScript. It handles your application flow and controls the UI. In React Native, we use a UI markup language called JSX. We will discuss that in detail in the next few tutorial videos. Now, let us show you how to set up the development environment for React Native in a Mac machine. The component we need to install is Xcode, Android Studio, Node.js, Watchman, CocoaPod, VS Code, the React Native via npx. With React Native 0.60 and above, we are not required to install React Native locally. We can use npx command to execute it on demand. The first thing we need to install is Xcode. The main use of Xcode in React Native development is for compiling and deploying your app to Apple App Store. Now, launch the Apple App Store from the Mac. Click on the Develop Site menu and you will see Xcode icon. Click on Xcode icon and the App Store will display the Xcode detail. Click on the top right corner Get button to install Xcode into your machine. It will take some time to perform the installation. Key in your machine password to proceed. Now, the installation has complete. Launch the Xcode. Go to the Xcode preference. Under the Component tab, make sure there is at least one simulator installed. If there isn't, then click on the download icon on the left of the simulator you want to install. Since we have the simulator installed, we can proceed to the Location tab. Make sure the command line tool is not blank. For instance, we have Xcode 11.3 selected. We can close the Xcode for now. Next, we need to install Android Studio. Let's launch the browser and search for Android Studio in the address bar. From the search result, the first item is what we needed. Click on the link to go to the download page. Click on the Download Android Studio button and agree on the terms and conditions, and then click on the Download Android Studio for Mac button. The download will then commence. Wait till the download to complete and click on the downloaded file. The system will proceed with the installation. Click and drag the Android Studio app to the application folder. The installation is completed. Let's launch the Android Studio for the first time. Click on the Open button. Click OK to proceed. Click on either button on data sharing based on your preference. Click on the Next button. Select Standard and click on the Next button. Select the theme you preferred and click on the Next button. Click on the Finish button to proceed. Key in your machine password. Click on the OK button. Click on the OK button. Click on the Finish button to proceed. Now, let's go to SDK Manager. Under the Android SDK platform, ensure the Android version you want to use is installed. Also, make sure the required SDK tools is installed. For example, the Build Tools, Emulator, Platform Tools, SDK Tools, and Emulator Accelerator. Click on the OK to close the SDK Manager. Now, we go to the AVD Manager. Click on the Create Virtual Device button. Select the type of virtual device you want. For example, the Pixel XL, and click on the Next button. Select the virtual device OS, for example, the Q. Click on the Download link. Accept the license agreement and click on the Next button again. This will download the emulator OS. The installation completed. Click on the Finish button. Now, we click on the Next button. Give the new virtual device a name. For this case, we use the default name. Select Automatic for the graphics and click on the Finish button. Now we see the virtual device in the list. Close the Virtual Device Manager and the Android Studio. Now we need to configure the path via Command 9 for the Android Studio. Depending on the type of shell you are using, some use Bash and some use Z shell. To know what shell you are using, take a look on the title bar of your terminal screen. We are using Z shell for this example. Let's create a Z shell profile in your home directory using nano editor. At the command line, type nano.zshrc and press enter. In the nano editor, specify the following path. The first path is the Android home, which points to the Android SDK instance. The next path is the emulator path, followed by the tool, bin, and platform tools path. Press Ctrl X to save the file. tap Y and press Enter to confirm the changes. To test the environment path is set up correctly, just tap ADB on the command line. It is a tool from Android Studio. If the path is correct, it should show the available option for ADB. Now, we have fully set up the Android Studio environment. Next, we need to install a few more components via the command line. First, make sure your machine have a brew command installed. Just tap brew on the command line to test if your machine has brew. If it shows command not found, then you need to install it. If your machine already has brew, then you can skip this step. We will install brew using the Ruby command. Key in the command as shown on the screen and press Enter. Press Enter to continue. Key in your machine password. We have completed the brew installation. To test it, tap brew in the command line and press Enter. If it shows the available option for brew, this means that brew has installed successfully. Next, we will install the Node.js component using the brew command. At the terminal, tap brew install node and press Enter to start the installation. The installation is completed. To verify the installation is successful, tap in node in the command line and press Enter. You should see the node command prompt with the version number. To create the Node.js, press Ctrl+C 2 times. The next component to install is the Watchman. A Watchman is a tool from React Native that monitors file changes in the project directory. At the terminal, tap in brew install Watchman to perform the installation. The installation of the Watchman is done. Next, we will proceed to install CocoaPods for iOS. At the terminal, key in sudo gem install CocoaPods. Key in the machine password to proceed. The CocoaPod installation is done. Now, we need to install Java JDK for Android development. At the terminal, key in brew tab adopt openjdk/openjdk and press Enter. To complete the installation, tap brew cast install adopt openjdk 8 in the terminal and press Enter. Key in the machine password. The installation is completed. To test the installation, key in Java and press Enter in the terminal. The terminal should show a list of options for the Java JDK. Next, we are going to install IDE editor. You can use any editor you are familiar with. However, we recommend Microsoft Visual Studio Code. Launch the browser again. In the address bar, key in VS Code for Mac and press Enter. Click on the first link to go to the download page. Click on the Mac icon to start the download. Click on the download file and the system will unzip it for us. Click and drag the Visual Studio Code to the application folder on the left. Once the file is dragged to the application folder, click on the Launchpad. You should see the Visual Studio Code and click on the icon to launch it. Click on the Open button. Now, we need to install an extension in VS Code for React Native development. Click on the extension icon and type in React Native in the search bar and press enter. From the result list, click on the React Native tool and then click on the install button. The installation is completed and we can close it right now. Let's close the VS Code for now. We have completed all the required tools and components installation. Now, let us create a sample React Native application and test the development environment. First, let us issue npx command followed by React Native init hello React Native. This will execute React Native to initialize the application template. We use npx so that we no need to install React Native in your machine. npx will fetch the React Native from the web and execute it. The React Native has completely initialized the application template. Let's test run the application by navigate to the project folder. Type npx React Native run iOS in the terminal to test run the application in iOS emulator. Now, the React Native will try to compile the application and launch the iOS emulator. The React Native will launch another terminal window which running the Metro bundle. The Metro bundle acts as a file server to host all the files required by the application. Now, the application had launched in the emulator and is running successfully. Next, we are going to test run the application in Android emulator. Navigate to the project folder in terminal and type npx React Native run Android and press enter. We have successfully compiled the application for Android and the app is running in the Android emulator. If you like our video and want to learn more about mobile app development, please support us by like our video, click on the subscribe button and the notification bell to receive notification when we publish new video. Thanks for watching. Bye.